What's good, y'all? Hope all is well. Hope you've had a pretty good week so far. Today, what I want to talk about is just some little quartet nuggets, some little things, real small things, especially for people who are relatively new at playing quartet guitar and you want to just get some pointers about a few little nuances. And I'll do maybe part twos and part threes of this. I'm going to call it Quartet Nuggets. I think that's what I'm calling it. Right now in the key of E, we're going to use the chords E major, A major, and B major. Okay, now that's like the 1, 4, and 5 of the E major key. Now primarily it's going to be the 1 and 4, okay, which is the E and A. But I'm using the 5, which is B major, as a way to kind of lead into the A or pull away from the A and kind of snap back, kind of slide to it and to it, away and into. Okay. Now, here's what I mean. Something like that whole thing, you know what I'm saying? Or that whole thing. So it's not really a 1, 4, 5 chord progression. It's really a 1, 4 chord progression, but we're just finding some ways to not just stay on one chord, basically. So let's just start out with this right here. We got E major, A major, and B major, okay? Now, you all already know this, but there are several ways that you can play the same chords. Now, here's also E major. Here's A major. Here's B major. Okay. E major, A major, B major. Here's another way. All right. Here's another way to play E major right here in like the open C shape, but you're playing it from the E, which is your pinky on the 7th fret. All right. So you're basically referencing the barred shape right here, but I'm just playing the triad. All right. So that's pretty much what we'll reference. Okay. Now, so this is basically for somebody who you kind of already know the chords, but you kind of want to focus on the actual nuances of playing, those different chords. Let me have this not flashing. But it's mainly focused on your strumming hand and your chord hand. But as far as your chord hand, you're going to be doing some hammer-ons and pull-offs as well. So there's this dance between the strumming hand and the, your left and right hand that they have to be talking to one another, okay? And one is actually filling in while the other one is taking a break. So I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I'm about to demonstrate. So let me start off first by, let's start the metronome. Okay, I'm pretty sure you can hear that. And I have this metronome playing versus my internal one because my internal routing has been a little delayed for whatever reason. And when I play and when the metronome is playing, it seems to get off. And then I'm playing a little later than I would want to. So having a real-time metronome, it's just my phone. That's all it is. That's all it is. Gives me a better real-time reference. All right. So to start off, we're going to focus on down strumming, and that is it. And then we're going to focus on when do we actually strum up, okay? Because it sounds simple, but it's easier said than done. So we're going to do down strumming. We're going to figure out when to strum up, like the sweet spots. But then the timing of strumming up has to shift a little bit. All right, so let's go. right, so we're strumming down. We're strumming down only. And let me actually slow it down to yeah, I'm gonna slow it down. Okay, about to that. So that's something that you actually got to have down when you're actually playing quartet, because the beat is like boom, 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 slow down. Okay. Now, word on this particular technique. So I'm playing the chord, but then I'm actually lifting when I'm ready to let the chord, when I'm ready for the notes to not sustain, I kind of lift my fingers off the strings like halfway, and then it causes my strings to no longer sustain. So that's how I'm able to do that. Okay. Keeping that in mind. And that's no matter what chord you're playing. If you're playing this chord, whatever. All right. So keep that in mind. Now, so we can play this E major this way, but we can also play this triad by just only playing right here on the 9th fret, just those notes right there on the G, B, actually the D, G, and B string. Okay. And it makes it easier to kind of navigate. So then you can okay. Now, at what point do you up strum, like come back up? At what point do you do that? Well, that's kind of up to you to determine, but I'm going to give you an example. Now, the up strum now is going to be basically right in the middle. So it's going to go bump, 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 something like that. So let's go. All right. Now, once you have that down, try to shift that up strum a little bit. Shift it a little later. Okay. 1, 2, 3. So there we go on that. All right. Now let's briefly discuss. So now basically we're going to start building on that. Okay. So as we build on that, we're going to go to the 4 and the 5 and stuff like that. But there are many ways to go to the 4, just many ways. So here we go. So let's bring this metronome back in. And we're going to incorporate this down strum up, midway, kind of shift it. You're gonna shift it, or some people call it swung or a swing feel, which is incorporated in jazz a lot, in country, or like bluegrass sometimes, but mainly jazz more so. A lot in Louisiana-based music. Okay, so let's go. All right, so basically what I was doing, I was incorporating the 4 as a way to reinforce the 1. So instead of just playing, you don't want to just stay on the 1 all the time. You want to Now you can do that. There are times you can do that without the music going to those chords. If the music is staying on the one, there are times as a guitar player that you can do that without everybody going there. Okay. So let's use a couple other examples. Okay. Now these are movements. This is not when the chord is actually going to, this is not when the music is actually going to that particular chord. Okay. So right now we're focusing on the one. And you can do this with triads, because right now I'm focusing on triads. And remember, I went over the chords like this A and B. I'm not playing the full chords. I'm only utilizing the D, G, and B string. Okay. See what I'm saying? So now there are times that it's going to go to that 4. And when you're on that 4, you can teeter between that 5 and the 4. If it stays on the 4, you don't have to just, you can, kind of like that rubber band type approach. You can do that type of thing. That is allowed. Now, let's talk about the actual strumming and, like what you do with your left hand and everything. So let me just give you the rhythms real quick. So it's like when you're playing with your, let me see if I can get over good. Okay. When you're doing your strums like this, and you're chording, there are times that you can hammer on in between. Okay? And you can do that so you don't have to. You can actually. You can do that. Another way is you can like there are different times that you can actually do the hammer-ons. Okay, just pick a rhythmic spot where you could do the actual hammer-on. Okay. So what I just did, I'm gonna speed it up a little bit, or let's keep it there. Very important to like have the down strum established, kind of have an internal understanding of where it is. And once you develop a good relationship of when to go up, you can now play that rhythm whether you're playing down or up. So instead of going, I can play that down as well. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm getting at. Now, if I were to speed this up, So in me showing you this, there were times in between me strumming that I hammered on or slid. Okay, so I did these different things in between the strum. So understand that sometimes it sounds like there's more going on than what's really going on. Okay, it sounds like they're doing all this stuff, but really they're strumming, hammering on, sliding, slide back down, strum. Sometimes that's happening. And then you do the little strums rhythmically that fit in between the slides and the strums and the hammer-ons. Okay, so just keep that stuff in mind. There are all sorts of things that you can do. There are also opportunities to kind of chicken pick a little bit, which involves angling your pick upward, and that's when you're basically angling your pick up this way. So it's something about whatever muscle that allows you to kind of rotate your wrist like this that you got to become very acquainted with if you're playing quartet. You got to get very acquainted with this little rotation right here, because you got to be able to, either it's this rotation or it's not really your elbow. It is a little bit. So just kind of keep that in mind. So same thing with here. Let me do this. You know what I'm saying? Little stuff like that. I'm kind of being real sloppy with it. Whatever. So that's something just to keep in mind. And it was something that I really wanted to share with you all. I was actually going over this with a student, and I thought it would be a pretty good teaching point to just mention it. And a lot of times either we're overthinking it or we haven't simplified what's going on, and sometimes we have to make use of just good rhythm, 3 chords, and move around. Okay. Make sure that your rhythm is good. Make sure that it's good. And make sure you got your up strum in between that on point. Because then, like, one of the reasons that it's important, one of the reasons that your up strums are important is because if you're down strumming the whole time, and what if the band gets faster and you down strumming the whole time? You could actually incorporate some ups to kind of speed things up a little bit, and it becomes more like efficient. And that's kind of the way that's the way I think about it, at least. So yeah. So if I wanted to chicken pick or whatever you want to call that, I could kind of do that little movement. Or if I wanted to, that type of thing. I'm not that good at it. Stuff like that. You have to really dig up like that. Let me turn my mic off. stuff like that that we take for granted, and sometimes it's just because our pick angle is wrong. Okay. Uh, oh, and also when you do your down strums, um, I pretty much have my pick angle, like my fist is kind of toward my thigh. Stand on the floor. Little stuff like that. Okay, so that's just like a very simple example of what to do in situations when you're playing a very simple quartet chord progression. And keeping in mind, of course, you can play all the, you can do all that stuff, but I'm just talking about like triad chords and the way you move your strumming around and hammer-ons and pull-offs and stuff like that. Just kind of keep that in mind. You can kind of seesaw it from a standpoint of, you know, using the proper technique and having good rhythm and playing very simple chords. And you don't have to play a lot of scales and all that other stuff. Okay. So I figured I would just share that with y'all, and I'll have some free downloads that y'all could check out, perhaps in reference to this video. All right, and you let me know if this helps you out, and I'm looking for the feedback. All right, so hope that this was helpful for some of you, and even if you're not even playing quartet, you can like incorporate this with some other stuff too. All right, peace.